In the quiet theater of a shared home, there is a subtle, invisible process of evaluation constantly happening. We often think of our dogs as beacons of unconditional love, creatures that offer their devotion to anyone with a kind word or a pocket full of treats. But if you observe closely, you will notice a distinct hierarchy in their world. Have you ever noticed how a dog might play with everyone, but when the room settles into silence, they choose a specific person's feet to rest upon? This isn't a random occurrence or a simple matter of who provides the most calories. It is a sophisticated and deep psychological selection process rooted in canine evolutionary logic. Welcome to the Bonded Dog. Today, we are looking past the surface level of wagging tails to decode the mystery of the favorite. We are exploring how dogs, through months of silent observation and emotional testing, quietly decide who will be the anchor of their world. Welcome back to our space for understanding the canine mind, where we prioritize the why behind the bond. The myth of the provider. To truly understand how a dog selects their person, we must first dismantle the most common misconception in the pet world, the idea that the favorite is simply the one who holds the food bowl. While sustenance is certainly a pillar of survival, dogs are not merely transactional creatures. They are masters of social observation. If food were the only metric, the primary caregiver would always be the favorite. Yet we often see dogs bypass the person who feeds them to seek the company of someone who barely interacts with the kitchen. This is because, in a dog's internal world, emotional safety carries more weight than physical resources. They are looking for a specific type of consistency that transcends the feeding schedule. They observe who remains calm during a storm, who respects their physical boundaries when they are tired, and who provides a predictable emotional environment. The person a dog chooses is often the one who provides the most reliable social feedback loop, meaning the person whose reactions are the most understandable and stable in the dog's eyes. The imprint of the critical window. There is a biological component to this choice that often dates back to the very beginning of the dog's life. Between the ages of birth and 6 months, dogs experience a primary socialization period where their brains are essentially sponges for social hierarchy and trust. During this window, the person who spends the most quality time, not just feeding, but teaching, touching, and simply being with the puppy, is often cemented as the primary attachment figure. This is known as a secondary bond, a psychological tether that remains resilient even as the dog matures. However, for those who have adopted adult dogs, this doesn't mean the choice is already made. Adult dogs are constantly re-evaluating their social circles. They utilize a process of social mirroring, where they gravitate toward the person who most closely matches their own energy level. A high-energy border collie might choose the person who is always moving, while a senior greyhound might choose the person who enjoys long, quiet afternoons on the sofa, proving that the favorite is often the person who best reflects the dog's internal pace. The language of shared stillness. One of the most profound ways a dog quietly chooses you is through the shared language of stillness. In the wild, animals only relax their guard when they feel a complete sense of environmental security, and for a domestic dog, that security is personified by a human. If a dog chooses to sit beside you, not in front of you requesting a treat, but beside you, leaning their weight against your leg while looking away, they are offering the highest form of canine compliment. This leaning behavior is a physical manifestation of a psychological choice. They are choosing you as their safe harbor. They aren't looking for entertainment in these moments. They are looking for a co-regulator for their nervous system. They have observed your heartbeat, your breathing patterns, and your scent changes over hundreds of hours, and they have decided that your presence is the one that best helps them maintain emotional equilibrium. It is a choice made in the quietest moments of the day, far removed from the excitement of the dog park or the dinner table. The evaluation of respect and boundaries. Perhaps the most overlooked factor in how a dog picks their person is the concept of consensual interaction. Dogs, much like humans, value their personal space and their right to say no to affection. Interestingly, dogs often choose the person in the house who is the least demanding of their attention. This is a common irony. The person who is constantly hugging, petting, and calling the dog might find themselves ignored in favor of the person who simply sits and lets the dog come to them. By not forcing interaction, that person is communicating a deep respect for the dog's autonomy. This builds a foundation of trust that is far more durable than the excitement of a new toy. The dog learns that around this specific person, they have agency. They don't have to be on or performing. They can just exist. This sense of freedom is incredibly attractive to a dog's psychological profile, leading them to quietly designate that respectful individual as their primary person, the one they can truly let their guard down around. The bond of communication style. Finally, we must consider the alignment of communication styles. Every human has a vocal and physical fingerprint, the way we use our tone, the speed of our movements, and the predictability of our gestures. Dogs are expert decoders of these fingerprints, possessing an almost supernatural ability to detect the minute shifts in our muscle tension or the micro-inflections in our speech. They tend to choose the person whose language is the easiest for them to read, essentially seeking the path of least resistance in a world dominated by human complexity. This goes far beyond simple commands. It is about the rhythmic consistency of your presence. When your physical cues match your verbal intent, it creates a sense of profound psychological safety. If you are someone who uses clear, consistent signals and a calm, modulated voice, you are essentially providing the dog with a detailed roadmap of how to navigate their environment. You become a living set of instructions that never changes its meaning based on mood or stress. This reduces the dog's cognitive load, sparing them from the exhausting task of guessing what we want, which in turn makes their daily life significantly easier and more stress-free. In the canine mind, there is a distinct relief in being understood and in understanding. Therefore, the favorite is almost always the person who makes the dog feel the most competent, the person around whom the dog feels they truly understand the rules of the world. As we look at our dogs tonight, let's try to see the world through their eyes, not as a place of simple commands and rewards, but as a complex map of emotional safety and shared understanding. If you have been chosen by a dog, recognize the immense responsibility and the beautiful logic behind that choice. You have become their anchor in a world they are constantly trying to decode. If you found these insights into the canine mind helpful, I invite you to join our growing community of observers by subscribing to the channel. We are dedicated to exploring the science and the soul of the animals we share our lives with, moving away from control and toward a deeper, more reflective connection. Thank you for spending these 8 minutes with us, for your patience, and for your commitment to understanding your dog's quiet language. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode as we continue to explore the bonds that define us.